My name is Sabine Charles, and I'm the CEO and founder of TAPA Institute. TAPA Institute provides tutoring services for professionals who are looking to get certified. I've had this business for about 5 years, and I've tutored hundreds of people to pass certification exams, including CPA, CIA, nursing, social work, you name it, we cover it. And I love helping people to achieve their goals. Not only we help them with the material and maximizing and understanding it, but we also work on the psychology side. We provide stress management techniques and test-taking techniques to maximize success during exam day. Well, it really depends, because if you're majoring in accounting, that opens up a range of fields and opportunities. Right now in 2021, I have seen salaries ranging from $60,000 to $65,000 entry. Sky is the limit. I know CPAs or accountants who are unemployed, but the point is that you have to work hard and you have to be focused on what you're looking for. My background is somewhat different than most accountants. I first majored in French and Spanish literature. I went to study abroad for 1 year in Paris. And also I did 2 months in Spain, where I learned how to speak and perfect my Spanish. Coming out of school, I wanted to work in something in international business or some sort. So I ended up landing a job at Citibank, where I was chosen to participate on an international assignment. Gave me the opportunity for me to live in Brazil for a couple of months and also Panama, where I picked up the language of Portuguese. In my quest of working with Citibank, I decided to start a small business where I brought Americans to Carnival. And so I used to take vacation time at Citibank, and then I used to do 5, 10, 15-day packages, because I made friends in Brazil, just really understanding and appreciating the culture. So I decided to actually have a small business to bring Americans to Brazil, because at that time, a lot of people didn't speak English in Brazil. And so I was like the translator. So I had friends, and we went all around, and we went during Carnival. Wow. So my background is somewhat interesting or different than most accountants. So I landed the job at Citibank by doing a couple of things. I went to a business school in the United States in New York, and most of my friends were accounting majors. I was a French-Spanish literature major. So they had the opportunity to interview before I did, because the majority, half of the school were accounting majors. My friends used to interview and give me the business cards. So they used to give me the business cards of the jobs they were not interested in. So I used to take those business cards and contact the HR people directly. So I contacted a friend of mine. He had an opportunity to join the international team at Citi. He was not interested in traveling abroad. He gave me the business card. I had this the HR representative's information, and I sent her emails with my resume attached. Now, remember, this was around back in the day in the 90s. I mean, computers were in fashion, but the thing is, it wasn't like the way it is now. So it was really the fall semester. So that means from September to December that was the time frame. So I sent her an email saying, I am a French-Spanish literature major, but I'm interested in business. Here's some information about me. Didn't get a call. I sent her a follow-up email saying, hey, I'm still interested. I would like to continue to perhaps be considered for this position. I have acquired ABC skills. Wow. Please let me know. She called me up and she goes, I've received all 3 of your emails, and I would like to bring you in for an interview. Awesome. So remember, I was not an accounting major. So I went to the library that weekend. I studied up what's a debit, what's a credit, because I had no clue. And I started talking to her like if I understood. Well, I understood enough for me to get the job. And then that's how I landed the job at Citi. And that track was the track of accounting, auditing, and then I went back to school to kind of backfill to have the education for that. So My background is a little bit off the beaten path, where it started out with liberal arts, then I switched into accounting,
Mhm.
and now I have a business where I train people to pass accounting related
Wow.
certifications. So that's really my background. I think two things that you need to really hone in, especially nowadays. It's languages, because the world is global. And the reason why I say languages is because it gives you an opportunity to open your mind and have a more growth open mindset, because certain words are used differently. So then it helps you understand culture. And culture sometimes is the most important thing, the rapport between two people or groups of people.
Okay.
So that's very important in business. Number two, I would say that really understanding technology, however it is in any aspect, if it's really knowing how to do SQL or understanding data analytics, really embracing the technology piece of it would be, I believe, a tremendous asset to an individual. See, that depends on the company, because every company is different. So a lot of people in the big four, they actually require people to have the CPA so that you can move into the manager field, the manager level. So again, the big four requires people to have the CPA so they can move from senior to manager. And that is somewhat not necessarily training, but certification that they require you. Now, companies may have you be trained in information security, phishing, that type of thing. So it really depends on the company and what they're focused on, sincerely. But what I say about training is that you have to take a look at yourself and really understand what are your needs. If you're not a public speaker, like you hate speaking in public, then maybe Toastmasters may be a training vehicle for you so that you could hone that. So again, training is not necessarily looking for companies to come to you and provide that training. Outside of school, you could actually do some type of training to enhance your marketability and your skill and develop skills that are necessary for you to be successful. Hey, that's hard to say, but I am a big city person. So I am from New York City. I love New York City. So of course I will say there, because of probability and the magnitude of companies that are there gives me, or in my head, I feel that the probability of having the training, the availability of training, the resources, the seasoned professionals in the area so available to you, as opposed to rural America. So again, doesn't mean that you can't be successful in a small town, but again, it depends on what you're looking for. I love the hustle and bustle of a city. I love being able to go into different cultures in a 2-block range. 2 blocks away, you could have Indian food that is authentic, and then another 2 blocks, you could have Japanese food that's completely authentic, or Latin, Mexican food that's authentic. Not only foods, but then you have the cultures and the language and the dance. And then with that gives us that diversity of view, then is also in companies. And that is what makes it great in New York City, in major cities that are around the United States. I'm going to answer that in 2 ways. The first way is that I don't compete with people. I compete with myself. So the thing is that if you have to just take a look at yourself and figure out how to make yourself more marketable, regardless of where you are. So that competition, I hear that, but I see the competition first against me. Okay. Now, number 2, why not? If you want to be the best in your field, why not go play in the big field? But some people are not interested in that. Some people feel that, the hustle of the city is way too much. I have clients who are successful in Joplin, Missouri. They live there. They have an accounting firm there. They're doing extremely well. So, but they're in the middle of America. So success is really driven by the individual, not necessarily where you live. And I think that goes across not only in the United States, but abroad, because success is driven by how you perceive success, one, and how well you represent yourself in everything that you do. The uniqueness in the field of accountancy is that you can major in accounting and you don't necessarily have to be a CPA to be financially successful. Wow. You could actually have that as a foundation and then move that foundation into other areas, such as marketing. You could do internal audit. You could move into finance. So you can move into medicine. So which means that foundational understanding of accounting can be translated into other fields. So that is what I like about it. It's the transferability of that degree and language that can be spoken and utilized in different fields. Not embracing technology is one of the things that I see. Not necessarily being aware of the value that we add. See, I have a background in internal audit, and internal audit is a profession that started maybe, I want to say, in the 1980s, more or less, that it really took hold into the industry. And I'll speak about internal audit for a moment, that internal auditors tend to be introverted, and they don't necessarily market themselves as people, strategic consultants in organizations. And that is what I see that's lacking in the profession. We need to be the eyes and ears of management. And we have to also make sure that we are seated at the table as a trusted advisor, meaning that people come to us for advice. And if we don't know it, we find out or we tell senior leadership that perhaps we need to do A, B, and C. We're the internal consultants, and that is the role that internal audit should play. But I have seen in my 20 plus years in the field that that's not the role that we have. We tend to kind of be drawn out of the accounting finance world, and we tend to feel more comfortable because a lot of us are accountants. We tend to feel more comfortable in that space. But internal audit is beyond just looking at the numbers. We look at compliance issues, we look at operating effectiveness. And so that opens up different fields. And again, I really stress the importance that internal auditors need to market themselves beyond just being bean counters. We need to market ourselves as executive strategists in organizations. And that is something that I think that we need to continue to work on. Well, right now, truth be told, I'm working on my doctorate in business. And my dissertation is about emotional intelligence and internal audit. So I think being able to connect with people is so important, especially when you're going into departments and you're evaluating them. Understanding and really understanding the cues that are being given to you, not just the words that they speak, but the body language, and understanding how to navigate through the politics and the nonverbal cues that are being given. So I think that is, again, aligned with marketing, human interaction, and having those technical skills are needed for success, coupled with technology.